Anticipated high school basketball games of the year comes your way tonight here on Cable 36 at the largest and best basketball venue in Southwest Missouri, the John Q. Hammond Student Center, as tonight the Kickapoo Chiefs do battle with the Glendale Falcons. And good evening, everyone. Welcome to Hammond Center. Don West joined by Trevor Worley. And this evening, it's Kickapoo and Glendale round number 2 after Glendale won the first meeting 66-63 3 weeks ago tonight out at Kickapoo. This game, Trevor, moved here to the Hammond Center, and we can thank our lucky stars that it is, because there are about 5,000 or 5,500 fans in the stands right now. The JV game just got over with, and Kickapoo won a thriller by 3 points. Great venue, and it's going to be a great atmosphere for ball tonight. Well, a great idea by Edsel Matthew, Director of Athletics for Springfield Public Schools, to open up the idea of, hey, let's bring this game into the large venue. They had toyed with the idea of selling advanced tickets to this game. Good idea that they went ahead and opened up Hammond Center, and it is packed. They have already opened up, as you said, the bleachers. Going to be a great game. Coach Steve Hesser of Glendale agreed to have the game played here. This is his home game, and he could have chosen to leave it at the 1,400-seat Glendale gym, but quite obviously, a whole lot of people would not have gotten to see this game tonight that wanted to. Well, you're right. Credit Coach Hesser. This is his home game. This is also, by the way, Don, a conference game. An awful lot at stake tonight. District seeding implications are on the line tonight, with these two teams most likely to be the 1 and 2 seeds in the district that'll be out west here later on in the season. But, I mean, both teams 2-0 in the conference. Kickapoo 19-1 with the only loss to Glendale 3 weeks ago tonight, and the Falcons are playing some good basketball, although they have had to deal with some adversity, having lost their leading scorer, Brandon Kimrue, to a broken wrist before the Tournament of Champions. So despite not having Kimbrue in the lineup, they played right here at Hammond Center Friday, Saturday, Sunday last week and finished with a 2-1 record and a third-place finish. You're right, Kimbrue, the spark plug, but as Steve Hesser mentioned in today's paper, hey, we're moving on without him. We're starting to, they're starting to pick up the pace a little bit, play a little bit tougher, get things going. And you talked about an evenly matched series, Don. Last 8 meetings between these teams, they're 4-4, even record, average margin of victory, less than 7 points, 6.3 points per game. And talk about ranked opponents. Both of teams are ranked in the state of Missouri. Kickapoo 3-1 against ranked opponents. Their only loss to this Glendale team. Glendale 5-2 against ranked opponents. Lost to St. Louis Vashon here in the Tournament of Champions last week. Also lost to Memphis White Station in the Zizzer Classic at the beginning of the year. These teams are ready to play basketball. And an inexplicable loss to Neosho for Glendale at the Glendale gym right after the Zizzer Classic in West Plains to start the year. You can't really explain that now, the way they've played ball here in the month of January. Well, you know, you look at a tradition-rich program like Glendale and Kickapoo, and what do they play for? They play for this time of the year, January and February, and usually teams like this are peaking. They're going up at this time of the year. They are starting to play their best basketball and start to really have it ready by tournament time, by district time. All right. Teams are just about set to take the floor. Again, the JV game went a little long, so we're a few minutes away from the start of high school basketball tonight at the John Q. Hammond Student Center with none other than John Q. Hammonds himself right behind us here. It's great to have him here tonight, too. We'll be back with the starting lineups and have plenty more on our pregame festivities when we come back to Hammond Center right after this. High school basketball is brought to you tonight by BJ Marsh Travel and by MedPay Incorporated. Our thanks to those sponsors for bringing you high school basketball tonight here on Cable 36. I'm Don West, he's Trevor Worley, and tonight at Hammond Center it's Glendale and Kickapoo round 2 with the Falcons winning the opening meeting 3 weeks ago tonight out at Kickapoo 66-63. Now, Trevor, there used to be, and this is dating ourselves a little bit here, but going way back to the early and mid-'80s, there was the one conference game format. Right. For a long time, we went with both games against conference opponents counting in the Ozark Conference, and now we've gone back with the additions of the Lebanons, West Plains, and Rollins, and soon-to-be Waynesvilles and Camdentons into the Ozark Conference, back to the one Ozark Conference game. And this is that meeting tonight, the second game of the year, and it's a possible district championship prelude.
You're right, and you know, for those people that might look at the way the conference games have shifted, where this is the Ozark Conference game, and think, well, maybe that game 3 weeks ago didn't mean very much. Don't you believe it? These teams always play each other close, and even though it wasn't the conference game, look for an awful tight ball game from both Glendale and Kickapoo. You've got an awful lot at stake here tonight, and Glendale really a little tougher job tonight with the absence of Brandon Kimbrough in this game. They had him the last game.
Coach Steve Hesser has entered Grant Sparks into the starting lineup in place of Brandon Kimbrough, who is out for, they're calling it a few more weeks with a broken left wrist that he suffered in practice a couple of weeks back. And Coach Roy Green, in his 19th season at Kickapoo, 371 career wins and 158 losses. The Chiefs are 19-1 this year. They are 3-0 on this floor here at Hammond Center, having played in the blue and gold tournament. Their first round game was at McDonald Arena, and then they played the last three, of course, here at Hammond's. And Glendale is 2-1, having played just last weekend in the Tournament of Champions.
And I might play devil's advocate here for just a moment and maybe say Glendale's level of competition might be, if you're looking for some common theme here with the matchups here on the floor here at SMS, would be common opponents. Well, there really aren't any common opponents that they've played, except to say, look at the opponents that Glendale played here on this floor. Wow, Christ the King and St. Louis Vashon, and also
Centralia, Illinois.
And then you've got Kickapoo playing Stratford. Nothing against 1A school, but the level of competition maybe not quite as high.
Glendale finished 2-1 in the TFC last weekend. They beat Centralia, Illinois in the first round by 1 point, 60-59. Lost to the #1 team in Missouri Class 4A and a pretty much consensus top 10 team in the nation in USA Today, and St. Louis Vashon and their star Jimmy McKinney, who turned out to be the Tournament of Champions most valuable player, and then beat Christ the King, which may not be the Christ the King of years past in the Tournament of Champions, but beat them 56-45 to claim third place hardware.
One of those, and you're right, you talk about Christ the King maybe not being the traditional Christ the King team that we see, but you talk about those teams from New York that come in here. If they're down, when Christ the King's turn is down, when they come back, those kids are probably going to be seniors. They're going to be tough to beat. But let me tell you something. You ask Steve Hesser, was Christ the King a tough opponent? You'll get a yes from him every time.
Many of the self-proclaimed annoying Glendale fans are right here behind us, and the Kickapoo super fans over on the other side. They are out in full force. There was a drive to try to get every student from both schools to come out once they moved the game here to Hammond Center, and they've done a great job of promoting it. And I'm telling you, the bleachers keep getting closer to being filled down here on the south side, and they may even actually open the other blue curtain. We've probably got close to 5,500, maybe 6,000 in the house already, and we're still 9:45 away from game time.
And we look over on the southwest or southeast edge of the building, Don, and they are still filing in, looking for a place to sit. And you're right, we have got about 6 rows of the top of the south bleachers to go, and we may have to open them up. We could have 6,000, 6,500 folks in this gym before the night is out.
They'll take another timeout. Be back with more in our pregame show. It's Kickapoo and Glendale tonight from Hammond Student Center. We'll touch on the Kickapoo side when we come back to Hammond's right after this. It's Kickapoo and Glendale tonight at Hammond Student Center. The Chiefs 19-1, the Falcons 16-3. Kickapoo falling to Glendale 66-63 for its only loss on January 4th out on the prairie. That was a game that Kickapoo led by 13 at the half, but Glendale came out on a mission in the second half and drubbed the Chiefs by 16 after halftime to claim the victory. And it was right down to the wire.
Right down to the wire, as is the pattern with this series. Again, I mentioned in the open, the last 8 games, Glendale wins 4, Kickapoo wins 4. The average margin of victory, just 6 points per contest. The only real blowout in the series, going back, you'd have to go back to January of 1999 when Glendale beat Kickapoo 73 to 58, a 15-point margin of victory, the largest in some time in this very storied rivalry.
Other than that, they've been probably 6 points is the biggest margin you're looking at in the last 7 meetings.
That's correct.
On the Kickapoo side, Spencer Laurie certainly has been a star this year, averaging 18.7 points per game. The Chiefs' leading scorer, he's at about 43% from three-point range. He was the MVP of the Coffeyville, Kansas tournament, in which Kickapoo just competed and won, of course, with their only loss to Glendale, as we said. He has set the new bar for Kickapoo in terms of single-season three-pointers with 87. He beat Mark Mayer's old record. Mark Mayer now the point guard at Drury College Drury University in his senior year, and he certainly has been a leader for the Chiefs, and he's only a junior.
Well, Roy Green is blessed to have just gobs and gobs of talent. The cupboard may not be bare down on the south side of Springfield for a long, long time. When you talk about guys like Devin Mitchell, Spencer Laurie, Brandon Argo, Anthony Tolliver, these guys are, he's got a great mesh. He's got great backcourt play when you talk about Laurie, and you also talk about front court play, and that stops and starts with Devin Mitchell, who may be one of the most exciting players Springfield's ever produced.
And all these guys, with the exception of Grant Olson in the starting lineup for Kickapoo, are juniors.
Yes.
How tough are they going to be in 2003, a year from now? Scary it is. And not only that, the Chiefs can bring tons of talent and especially height off the bench with the likes of Josh Fleming at 6'7", Landon McCarter is 6'9", Kelly Byrne is a three-point ace and he's 6'4". I mean, he's got Roy's got some size that he'll bring in occasionally, and he'll go with a 6'7" front line once in a while.
And that's very big, especially for the Ozarks. Not a great deal of size out there if you throw out, of course, Stephen Hill from Branson. Not a whole heck of a lot of size in Southwest Missouri. Kickapoo seems to have all of it, and boy, they are talented.
With Kickapoo's 19-1 record, you might think about some of the great teams in Springfield city history, a couple that had only one loss for their entire season, and Kickapoo could do that if, and this is obviously just speculation, but if Kickapoo happened to win out, they could get to 31-1 if they won a state championship. Of course, they'd somewhere most likely run into St. Louis Vashon down the line. But if they went out there through their district, they could be 27-1 going into the sectional. And then with that kind of record, you're talking about only Parkview's Jolly Green Giants of 65 and 66 that achieved a mark of 27-1. Kickapoo just in 1998, 28-2. So the Chiefs have had recent great history as well.
Yes, they have, again, with the likes of guys like Mark Mayer you had talked about earlier.
Ryan Stock
and that bunch. Roy Green loaded the cupboard back up again, and here we are again talking about another possibility to add to those legendary teams of the mid-late 60s and a couple of those teams there in the early 70s, Parkview, and again the Kickapoo bunch from just 3 years ago.
Winner of this game gets the upper hand in the Ozark Conference race as well, with both teams at 2-0. It's a bit of a longer conference race this year, and most of it will be in February. Whoever wins this game will be the odds-on favorite.
You're right. Really, there's not a whole lot standing in the way of either one of these teams in the way of a real threat to the conference title, barring this game. The other two city schools that are in the conference are a little bit down this year. Camdenton, not quite as good as they've been in years past. Joplin, not nearly as good as they have been. Lebanon is a new conference member. Really, they're kind of trying to rebuild a little bit. Had a good run in the blue and gold tournament. But really, you've just got to make the winner of this game the odds-on favorite to take the conference.
One thing you might watch for tonight is what happens if Glendale jumps out on top quickly, because Kickapoo really has not been in that position but for a couple of times this year. Once against Glendale when they fell behind, of course, late in the game and lost the game. And then Willard was the other team that gave them a run for their money in the blue and gold semifinals, and Kickapoo came back to win that game in the second half. But those two teams really are the only two all year that have had the Chiefs down as late as the second half of the game.
Right, and you made a good point. second half. No team so far this year has taken the measure of Kickapoo in the first half and really forced their tempo on the Kickapoo Chiefs. Be very interesting to see if Steve Hesser can somehow manage to swing the momentum early on in the favor of the Falcons and dictate the tempo of the game to Kickapoo.
Our game tonight brought to you on Cable 36 by MedPay and by BJ Marsh Travel. Great to have their sponsorship of high school basketball tonight on Cable 36. It's Kickapoo and Glendale from John Q. Hammond Student Center, and we'll be back with the starting lineups and the play-by-play right after this. It's the Kickapoo Chiefs at 19-1 against the Glendale Falcons at 16-3. Hammond Student Center, the site tonight. This is a home game for the Glendale Falcons. Coach Steve Hesser agreed to have it moved right here to Hammond Student Center, and so this enormous crowd of well over 5,000 would have the chance to see probably the most anticipated regular season high school basketball game in many years. And you'll talk about the state rankings of these teams, Kickapoo number 3 and Glendale number 4. You probably have to go back to the mid-'80s when Central and Hillcrest were the very highly state-ranked teams, with Hillcrest with Tony King and Central with Kenny McDaniel and Tony Walker.
Rodney Sterling and
that great group, with Central actually winning the 2 regular season games, one of them in 4 overtimes at the pit, before Hillcrest won the district championship game in Lebanon and went on to win the state title.
I had very good seats to both of those games at the end of the Parkview bench, so what a great bunch of teams those were.
As has been the case in the first meeting with these teams, players from each team apparently are, and here's Rex Liu for Kickapoo with the microphone now. And he's going to pass it off. And just a little word about sportsmanship, and it was very good. There were no incidents to speak of in the meeting at Kickapoo. And we expect very much the same here tonight. Teams head back to their respective benches. And public address announcer Joey Rich will give us the national anthem. Quartet from Glendale gets a rousing round of applause, and deservedly so, for our national anthem. And let's take a look at the starting lineups for tonight's battle between the Glendale Falcons and the Kickapoo Chiefs. Kickapoo 19-1 under Coach Roy Green. Glendale 16-3 under Steve Hesser. On the Chiefs side, Spencer Laurie, the school's leader in single-season three-pointers now with 87, and still a lot of season to go. Grant Olson at the other guard, 6'2" and a senior. He missed practice yesterday with stomach problems, but is okay to go tonight. Devin Mitchell, the superstar leading rebounder for the Chiefs, 6'4" and a junior. Brandon Argo, 6'6" and a junior, 14 points and 6 boards a game for him, bringing back a sprained ankle that he suffered against Neosho about a week and a half ago. And Anthony Tolliver in the middle, 6'7" and a junior. On the Falcon side, it's Ryan Luthi and Steve Hesser, or Tyler Hesser at the guards. Luthi at 6'2" and a senior, Hesser a 6-foot junior. Jason Beeker and Grant Sparks at the forwards. Beeker a 6'5" senior, Sparks 6'2" and a junior, and Justin Williamson is 6'5" and a senior, and he is the center for the Glendale Falcons. Glendale losing only 3 so far this year to Memphis White Station in the West Plains tournament, as Trevor told you to start the season. White Station, of course, a former Tournament of Champions entry. Falcons losing to Neosho right after that tournament. But other than that, it's been mostly W's for the Falcons, and it's been all W's except for the first meeting with Glendale for the Kickapoo Chiefs.
Starters being announced, the crowd is raucous, and I think the moment of anticipation is here, Don West. They are ready to play some basketball and look for just an exciting game. I had mentioned a few moments ago about tempo. I really do think it is important for Steve Hesser to establish the rhythm of the game early and see if he can't dictate his tempo to the Kickapoo Chiefs. Let's see how the Chiefs respond. You mentioned earlier they have not really been tested in the first half of any game that they've been involved in. Only the loss to Glendale in the second half and a close game that they eventually won against Willard in the blue and gold. Let's see if Hesser's Falcons can come out and control the tempo early on.
Anthony Tyndall, Robert Burr, and Gary Schultz are the officials. And we are just about set to go with a huge throng of fans at the Hammond Student Center. Kickapoo in its road gold with dark numbers, white trim. Glendale in powder blue with red numbers and white trim. What a scene tonight. I mean, this takes you back to have close to 6,000 in the house for a regular season high school basketball game.
Brings you back to those years when the high school gyms would just be jam-packed with fans. And what an exciting atmosphere. Very rowdy, but in a good way. And we are ready for basketball.
Jason Beeker will jump it up against Anthony Tolliver. Anthony Tyndall ready to put it in the air. Tapped right to Spencer Laurie from 3 right off the bat. Tolliver the rebound out long. And back out front for Laurie. Glendale matching up man-to-man. It's Laurie off balance. Leaving it short. Brandon Argo, offensive rebound. He's going to get a travel call.
And an outstanding defensive effort. But that was number 30, Grant Sparks, getting a hand on the ball and forcing the turnover.
Falcons first time down. Luthi against a zone defensive look. Actually, they now do match up man. It's tapped into the backcourt by Laurie. Out of bounds to Glendale. Kickapoo ranked number 3 in the state in 4A, and Glendale number 4. Here's Tyler Hesser, Steve's son. Luthi out on the right wing. Zip it inside for Justin Williamson, and that's a turnover, and both teams have committed 1. Ball back to the Chiefs. Nothing, nearly a minute in. Tolliver swings it around. Olsen down for Mitchell. It comes loose in the lane, and it's picked up by Grant Sparks. Here is Sparks, left wing. Shot no good for Hesser. Second chance for Sparks. Tolliver got a piece of it, but Sparks is there to get the game's first points.
And a good job of offensive rebounding by Glendale. Nice ball movement. Also able to box out. Nice offensive effort by the Falcons' first trip to get on the board.
Devin Mitchell. Spencer Laurie out front. 18.7 points a game and a whole lot of threes in the book for Spencer Laurie. Olsen will lean in and try it. Rebounded by Jason Beeker. He had a big game here on this floor against Christ the King. Beeker, 11 rebounds and 26 points against the Royals. Turnover, and here's Laurie. Drives in and draws the foul.
And Glendale is just getting inside the jersey of these Kickapoo Chiefs and not letting go. They are playing extremely tight man-to-man defense and attacking the basketball wherever the Chiefs happen to dump it. This time, Laurie drives straight in, dribble penetrates, and draws the foul.
Williamson, the first foul of the game, goes to him. 6'5" and a senior in the pivot for the Falcons. Laurie good on the first. Here comes Dre Dokes into the game, an early entry to replace Olsen. He's 5'9" and a junior and a football stud, you'll remember, from last fall.
He's got a little speed.
And the second one for Laurie goes down. 2-2 tie.
There goes the half-court trap by Kickapoo, Don.
Sparks will fire it back out, swing it right side for Beeker. There's a three on the way. Not there for Beeker, and it bounces over the rim, over the backboard.
Neither team shooting exceptionally well, but I think you can attribute that to possibly the crowd in the venue and also a little bit of jitters, as this is a very important game, as we've already mentioned.
It really helps Glendale, I think, having played here just last weekend. 3 games in 3 nights. Laurie with a miss. And here come the Falcons, still 2-2 early. Sparks looks for a little help. Out front, Williamson. Long range for the big man, didn't get it. And a push on Anthony Tolliver underneath. 44 there for Kickapoo.
Anthony Tolliver wide open for the rebound. The reason why, he cleared out with his elbow, and Gary Schultz right there to make the call. As you see, well, it looks like he got the sweep there, battling with Jason Beeker.
Hesser and Laurie's a nice guard matchup tonight. Hesser, he'll try it. And a held ball underneath. Great defensive effort by Williamson as he tied the ball up with Argo after Brandon Argo had secured the rebound.
Outstanding job that time. Look at that, Justin Williamson tying the ball up, and
the arrow to Glendale in that case, but a quick miss, and the Chiefs with the ball. Good defense inside by Ryan Luthi to get the ball back. Sparks fouled by Mitchell.
And he goes right up with it. Probably not a great opportunity to make the shot you see here, but just gets enough of the body by Devin Mitchell to go to the line. And Don, this is what I'm talking about, tempo. Right now, you'd have to really favor Glendale.
It is 2-2, and we played almost half a quarter. And it's still 2-2 after Sparks' first miss and second miss. Tapped up and over by Tolliver, and Argo controls for the Chiefs. Dokes got a little off balance, had to commit the pass to Tolliver, but got it there. Back out for Laurie. And now we're past the halfway point of the first quarter, tied 2-2. Argo. Somebody got ball from behind, but Argo gets it back and puts it home. And the Chiefs lead for the first time.
He just had the position there and a little bit of a partial block, grabbed his own rebound, and good job by Brandon Argo.
Luthi to work on his end. Tolliver blocking out, and he got some help with the foul.
Looks like they got Justin Williamson that time. He just didn't have position and just climbed the back of Anthony Tolliver, and a good call by the official.
Well, 2 early fouls on Williamson, and the Falcons do not have the size that Roy Green's Chiefs possess coming off the bench.
Or the depth.
Now Mitchell driving in, and a foul on the floor before the ball came free.
Take a look here. Steven Mitchell penetrating, dribble penetrating, and they got Luthi. Just your typical hand slap.
Andy Garwitz now, 21, replaces Williamson, 6 foot and a junior for Garwitz. So it's a small Glendale team out there now, and Garwitz is the main sub for Steve Hesser. Middle of the first quarter. Good defensive effort by Glendale this time down. Tolliver breaks free. Can't connect, and it's out of bounds to the Falcons.
Nice defensive effort by the Glendale Falcons that time. Just really not giving Kickapoo any opportunity to get into a rhythm. Of course, the same can be said about Kickapoo's defensive pressure on Glendale. Neither team really shooting the ball well. 4-2 score would indicate.
Luthi, little out of control on that effort. And the Chiefs again, well, tied it. Extend their 2.42 lead, and a foul now. Sparks gets the foul, his first, the Falcons' 4th. Dokes will inbound after a sub, and actually Dokes will come out as Olson comes back in. Grant Olson missed practice yesterday with a stomach ailment. Checks back into the lineup now. Mitchell to the corner. Now Tolliver. And he throws it right away to Grant Sparks. This isn't slow down ball, folks. Neither team is getting a whole lot of shots in the air. There have been a lot of turnovers. Quite a few fouls for a little over half a quarter. And Mitchell now gets his 2nd foul.
And really, you would think that a slow-down game might favor Glendale unless they get into foul trouble. If they get into foul trouble and Steve Hesser has to go too deep on his bench, that could be a problem for Glendale later on in the game.
Foul is on the floor. They'll take it under the basket. Mitchell staying in the game for now with 2 fouls. Nobody coming in to replace him, and now Kelly Byrne hustles to the table. Bounce it in. And the spin out, and the follow, and another miss for Jason Beeker. Pry the lids off these baskets, and now Beeker does.
3rd time a charm as Beeker misses 2 straight shots within about a foot of the basket, but perseverance got the better of him, and Beeker finally hits the shot.
Both teams have had a lead, and now there have been 2 ties. Laurie, short from long range. Mitchell, and he's fouled. And that'll be 2 on Sparks.
2 early fouls for Grant Sparks, and Justin Williamson's going to come back into the game for Glendale. Going to replace the 6'2 junior, Grant Sparks.
Williamson back in, and here is Kelly Burns, 6'4 and a junior, and he can light it up from 3 once in a while. 1:45 to go, opening quarter. 4-4. Argo not there. Luthi the other way. That's Andy Garwitz, his first look at the ball tonight. Inside for Williamson. Hesser down the lane. Out for Garwitz from 3. Tolliver pulls it off. Laurie again. Hasn't found the range yet. Tolliver. Going to be a Glendale foul on Garwitz. And Steve Hesser smiling great big in sarcasm more than anything. He wanted that travel on Tolliver.
Well, they got a little bit tangled up, and the official felt that the contact was initiated by Garwitz, and he's going to draw the foul. But Steve Hesser gives an earful to the nearest official.
The one that didn't make the call.
That's correct.
Now a turnover. pass a little off the mark, and the Falcons will take it with 1:02 to go in the first quarter. Tied 4-4. Pass in for Williamson, knocked away. Tolliver comes up with it. Keeps his balance to avoid the violation. Here is Argo, the fake in the basket.
Well, and Glendale just didn't get back on defense that time down, and Argo just underneath for a wide open layup.
Pass into traffic again, intercepted. Here comes Laurie. Tolliver, he's not afraid to shoot the bomb once in a while. This isn't the time for that, though. 15 and counting to go in the first quarter. Chiefs a 6-4 lead. Laurie from 25. Are you kidding? That's off. And it's picked up in the corner by Byrne. And he apparently stepped out of bounds with 2.2 seconds to go in the quarter. Here comes Kevin Schultz into the lineup for Glendale for the final 2.2. He's 6'3" and a junior. And Tyler Hesser sits for probably just a couple of seconds.
Just a little bit of a breather for the last 2.2, and then the little bit of a break for the end of the quarter.
Garwitz lets it fly, no good, and at the end of one, points hard to come by so far. It's the Chiefs 6th and the Falcons 4, and we'll be back. We head for the second quarter in this 6-4 game with Kickapoo a 2-point lead. 2-run homer by Spencer Laurie.
And it may take a few more of those long-range home run balls by Spencer Laurie to break the shooting slump of the Kickapoo Chiefs.
Olsen is completely out of control. Garwitz hammers it down to Luthi. Out of the corner to Sparks. Beaker looking things over. Now Sparks again, back up for Jason Beaker. Landon McCarter is on the floor for the Chiefs now, 34. He is 6'9". Here's a basket for Garwitz.
And that breaks the drought for the Falcons.
We have been tied at 2, 4, and 6. McCarter, 6'9" and a junior, playing in the middle. And here is Beaker, ahead for Ryan Luthi. Beaker from 3 range. Sparks in the corner, gets the timeout as he was jumping out of bounds. This will be a short timeout, and we'll stay here with a 6-6 tie and a heads-up play by Grant Sparks.
5 turnovers by the Chiefs in the first quarter, and then a turnover to start the second quarter, really helping Glendale. Now, what Glendale needs is when they get these defensive stops, they've got to convert them into points. They've got to kind of break their cold streak, because you know Kickapoo will get hot, and you really got to have enough of a lead or keep the game close enough to overcome that, because you know Laurie's going to start to get hot. You know Mitchell's going to get involved. You also know that Tolliver's going to get involved. Argo's going to get his points. Argo's going to get his points down low. So if you're Glendale, you want to continue this defensive pressure, but you got to get points off those turnovers.
High school basketball brought to you tonight by MedPay and by BJ Marsh Travel. It'll be Falcons ball in front of Coach Roy Green. Denny Hunt and Bill Hogue, his assistants on the bench, longtime area head coaches, now the JV and freshman coach respectively at Kickapoo. Here's Williamson with his first 2, and the Falcons go back on top 8-6. Dokes will kick it into the corner for Kelly Byrne. Down low, there is Argo.
And just a simple give-and-go play that time. Glendale defense didn't catch up, and a nice pass down to Argo.
He has 6 of the Chiefs' 8. And we've been tied at 2, 4, 6, and 8 now. Williamson, backdoor for Sparks.
We've had a give-and-go and a backdoor cut in respective trips down the floor, and the Falcons are starting to heat up a little bit as well.
Dokes out front. Here is Laurie again. Not quite there yet. McCarter had a tap that didn't go, and Byrne brings it back out front. Laurie to work again. Boy, pass to no one in particular down in maroon paint land, and it's out of bounds for the Falcons.
Well, he had a notion to try to do a cross-court pass to a cutting Brandon Argo. He cut one way, the ball went another, and another turnover for the Chiefs. And back into the lineup for Kickapoo is Anthony Tolliver.
Kevin Schultz is back in for the Falcons, 24 in blue. Hesser to Williamson. He's getting a little hot. His second basket. This is the largest lead for either team, 12-8 Glendale. Look out. 5:15 to go in the second quarter. Kelly Byrne out. Laurie fires it down to Argo. There's a hard foul. It'll be called on Williamson, and that'll be his third.
Well, and Justin Williamson's argument as he slams the floor is that Argo led with his shoulders. Look at there. He's got an argument for a charge. It was the second set of contact that was called, not the first set, on Brandon Argo.
That wasn't really much of a lead with the shoulder or the elbow, but enough to where he wanted the charge and didn't get it. But he brought the arms down hard to,
That's correct.
to get the hard foul.
You're right. What was called was the second batch of contact, not the first.
Argo has 8 out of 10 for the Chiefs now. 12-10. Olsen back in. Kelly Byrne sits down. It is Dokes, Laurie, Olsen, Tolliver, and Argo for the Chiefs. Tyler Hesser back in for Glendale. Hesser, Luthi, Beaker, Sparks, and Schultz on the Falcon side. Out of bounds to Glendale.
And a nice play by Tyler Hesser as he was just about to go out of bounds and saved it in off the legs of Ray Dokes.
Here's Luthi. Neither team has hit a three yet, and the Falcons will keep it on their end. Of course, the lack of threes works against Kickapoo in the long run with their reliance on Spencer Laurie to shoot and make as many as he has. Average of over 4 made per game for the season and a single season school record of 87. Tapped back in by Ryan Luthi off the miss. Falcons tie their largest lead again, and Roy Green will take timeout. A 30-second break with 4:21 left in the second quarter.
And we talk about tempo. Once again, Don, Glendale moving their feet just a little bit better, both offensively and defensively. And you saw Ryan Luthi able to clean up the garbage off the glass, and it's about body position. It's about knowing where you're at on the floor at any given time. And right now, the Falcons are doing a very good job of exploiting that, and just doing a little bit better job right now than Kickapoo is.
High school basketball brought to you tonight by MedPay and by BJ Marsh Travel. Our thanks to those two great sponsors for working with us to get high school basketball on the air in the 2002 season. Spencer Laurie across half court after the break. Olsen for Tolliver up front. Olsen back. Tries the right side. To the corner to Laurie. Now Tolliver turning around. Good touch, but a little short. Olsen comes up with it, though. And here's Argo. Blocked, and a jump ball. The arrow to Glendale.
And Ryan Luthi was credited with getting the tie-up as Argo shot. Luthi came right in behind. See there? There you go. And the call is a jump ball.
Well, Williamson is obviously on the bench for the rest of the half for the Falcons. Here's Luthi, 3-ball, no. Tolliver pulls it off. 3:40 to go in the half. This is Glendale's largest lead. Points have been hard to come by so far here at Hammond Center. Laurie to work again. Off balance, still can't connect. He hasn't made a field goal yet. And Argo after the rebound. If that's on Sparks, that's number 3 on him. And it is. 3 each on Sparks and Williamson.
Jordan Hines is going to come into the ball game, replacing him, a 6'2 sophomore. But he's going to have to wait until the shot attempt by Brandon Argo.
First one good for Argo. Andy Garwitz back in now too. And timeout, another 30-second break is going to be called by Steve Hesser. So between the free throws, Steve Hesser takes a break. Falcons and the Chiefs separated by 3 points. It's been never divided by more than 4 so far here in this first half. Well, the conference championship games this weekend in the NFL, who do you like?
Well, I like the Rams. Boy, how much of a reach is that one? But I tell you what, I give the Patriots a chance in Pittsburgh.
I'll agree with you, but I'll take the home teams on both fronts. But I give the Pats a chance.
I give the Pats a chance.
That's all we are saying is
give Pats a chance. Oh my goodness. It has started early here at Hammond Center, folks.
Here's Argo at the line. That one won't go. So maybe the timeout saves the Falcons a point. Jason Beeker. Here's Jordan Hines just into the game, 6'2" and a sophomore. Falcons leading 14-11 with the ball, 3:08 to go in the half. Beeker to the corner. Luthi gets it back to Jason Beeker. Garwitz in the corner. And now maybe the Falcons actually are slowing it down a little. Garwitz in a little trouble, but he gets out. Now the pass deflected and stolen by Laurie. Tolliver. And a foul on the floor. That's significant. No free throws for Tolliver after the foul on Jason Beeker is his first.
Jason Beeker, his first personal. Team foul number 9.
But it is 1-1. That's already 9 team fouls on Glendale, just 3 on Kickapoo, and Devin Mitchell has 2 of the 3. He's been out for a while. Here is Anthony Tolliver. His first point of the night. And 1 out of 2. It's tapped away and will go to Glendale. Kelly Byrne quickly back into the Chief lineup, and Olsen will go out. 14-12. Kickapoo's getting them back 1 at a time now.
Well, and a full court press by Kickapoo, broken barely by the Falcons as they almost turn it over.
Garwitz, Beeker in the lane. There's Dokes underneath to pick it up. Drive in, put it home.
Maybe the first transition bucket by Kickapoo in the second quarter.
Minute 51 and counting. First half action. Here's a steal for Kelly Bird. He'll try the three and got it.
And that's the first three-pointer of the game by either team.
And timeout. And a short timeout again for Glendale. Kelly Byrne with the first three of the game for either side put the Chiefs up 17-14. Same spelling as the former football coach Kevin Byrne, but no relation. And the Chiefs and the Falcons doing another classic battle tonight here at Hammond Center.
Well, you knew that Kickapoo, with their reliance on the outside shot, and the guys that shoot him, Spencer Laurie, Kelly Byrne, these guys that shoot the ball from the perimeter.
Mitchell.
You knew they were Devin Mitchell, even with his size. You know they're going to start to heat up a little bit. Glendale's got to match them now, and they've got to create more turnovers.
Laurie has not made a field goal yet. 2 free throws, that's it. 1:41 to play in the half. Dokes went for a steal, didn't get it, but look at the speed as he blasts back down to his defensive end. Now he gets a foul.
And speed kills, and not only does Roy Green have just pure talented basketball players, but he's got guys that are lightning fast that come off that bench.
And to Tyler Hesser with 1:28 and counting. First half. Oh, what a great defensive effort. Laurie reads the floor and takes it himself.
The first field goal for Spencer Laurie, and it comes off of a great steal of the basketball.
And Kickapoo now has its largest lead after a 5-0 run after the 14-all tie, which was the 5th tie of the first half. That one spins off for Luthi. Up and over on the second try, and then, oh, an intentional foul. Intentional is the call.
And let's see if we can catch it. Beaker just got hammered.
Argo gets the foul. It's his first personal, and you'll watch it underneath. Oh, my.
Oh, boy.
The hammer. And then he helps him up, but
Yikes.
Robert Burr brings him up with the felony foul that time. Two in the ball for Glendale. And another little twist added to this battle tonight. 1 out of 2 for Beaker. And the Falcons ball underneath now.
And give Jason Beaker, kudos for hitting one of the two, because he got drilled.
Landon McCarter replaces Argo, who is getting as hard a talking to from Roy Green as we've seen in ages over on his bench. Beaker with the left hand. Tolliver pulls it down. And 45 seconds for the Falcons. Or for Kickapoo, rather. Laurie going to work. Foul underneath. That is on Landon McCarter.
McCarter comes right in, gets into the fracas, and they're calling him for clearing out, and you see he got his elbow and arm entangled up with Jordan Hines, and they're going to call it against the Kickapoo forward.
Just 6 team fouls. We're down to 30 seconds left in the half. And Glendale looks like they're going to burn it down to 1. Beaker checking to see if the 5 count is on, and now he'll use the dribble. With 12 seconds, Kickapoo leads it by 4 at 19-15. Glendale could get within 1 with 5. Hesser spins out front. Luthi from 3. Yes! And that is the end of the first half. Luthi makes it a 1-point game at halftime. Kickapoo 19, Glendale 18. Halftime at Hammond Student Center. 19-18. Kickapoo a 1-point lead over Glendale with Ryan Luthi hitting a 3 just ahead of the buzzer. for the Falcons to make it a one-point game. The game has not been separated by more than 5 the whole time. Kickapoo had a 19-14 lead before Glendale scored the final 4 points of the first half to make it a one-point game. Scoring in the first half for Kickapoo, Brandon Argo had 9, Spencer Laurie put in 4, Kelly Byrne 3, Dre Dokes 2, Anthony Tolliver had 1. Olson, Mitchell for the Chiefs both played and did not score. Significant that David Mitchell played and didn't score. He was hit with 2 fairly early fouls. Glendale 5 points, their leading scorer, and that's Ryan Luthi. Jason Beeker had 3, Grant Sparks 4, Justin Williamson with 4. He was hit with 3 fouls in the first half. Andy Garwitz had 2. And the guys that played and didn't score, Jordan Hines, Kevin Schultz, and Tyler Hesser. And Hesser, a pretty good scorer for the Falcons, held without a point in the first half of the game. It is a low-scoring battle with quite a few turnovers in the game. In fact, the stat sheet shows 9 turnovers apiece for these two teams. We are at the half. Kickapoo leads Glendale 19-18, and when we come back, we'll visit with Springfield News leader, high school beat writer Joe Kress at the other microphone when we come back right after this. Halftime at Ammons Center. Kickapoo on top of Glendale 19-18. Always a pleasure to welcome Joe Kress, the Springfield News leader, high school beat writer, to the other microphone. Joe, it's a great battle. I think everything we expected, except maybe a few more points for both teams, but we both thought it'd be close.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think if you had said it was a one-point game at halftime, people wouldn't be surprised. If you said 19-18, you might, maybe a quarter score, not a halftime score.
What do you think of the way the high school season shaped up so far?
I don't think there's been a lot of surprises. I think people thought early on that Kickapoo and Glendale were going to be the class of the city and class of the Ozark Conference, and they've certainly proved that. And I think it's just a great night for the city. And, I thought maybe 5,000 people would be a good guess to get in here. I'm sure they got more than that tonight.
Yeah, more than that, probably close to 6, maybe not quite 6,
yeah.
But a great turnout. And it was certainly the right call to move it to this great venue here.
Absolutely. When Edsel first mentioned that, Edsel Matthews, I should say, a couple days ago about this, at first I thought, I'm hoping they can get enough people to make it worthwhile. And after you give it a couple seconds of thought, it seems pretty obvious that this is the right decision.
Yep.
Maybe sets a precedent for the future. Maybe have some more big games here in the coming years.
Yeah, 1,400 at the Glendale gym wouldn't even fill the lower section here. So
right.
Obviously a lot more people got to see this game than would have normally.
Absolutely.
Your thoughts on some of the other classes? I read your top 3 in each class poll that came out again today, which is, I guess, does anybody help you with that, or is that just you?
I should put some other names in there because maybe I can blame them or whatever. But no, that's mostly me. I just, I don't profess to know everything about every team. So I just try to look through the scores and talk to coaches and talk to other people that cover games. And it's mostly just a conversation piece. It's something to let people know, and it's one person's opinion. And, most people don't agree with it. And that's kind of why we have it, so people can have their opinion and get mad at me about it. So.
Waynesville would be a team that, as you said, is very quietly, 15-1 now? And they're going to be in the district up that way with the Hillcrests and Lebanon's and West Plains, I guess, right?
Right. And I haven't even seen Waynesville play this year. I know they played Central a couple of weeks ago, beat them pretty easily. They've got a nice team. I've talked to their coach. I've talked to some of the people that have seen them play and know a little bit about them. But they're probably not going to get to see the caliber that Kickapoo and Glendale are going to see until the district time.
How do you like the way the Central Ozark Conference looks right now?
Well, I'm really impressed with Ozark. I was here last weekend for the Tournament of Champions, and Ozark looked as good over those 3 games as anybody has, as they have all season, I should say. Nix is playing their best basketball of the season right now. They've won several in a row. They're playing in the Nixa tournament this weekend. Rogersville got off to a great start. Nixa beat them last week, but they might rematch tomorrow night in the Nixa tournament finals. Willard's had a great season. I'm probably Republic's off to a nice start for their season. So as typical, you can go 4 or 5 teams deep in the COC.
I spent the whole week last weekend changing addresses. Didn't get to come out to the Tournament of Champions. Was it as good as advertised and as good as the last few years?
It was a very good tournament. It was different than maybe some of the other ones. Some of the TFCs in the past maybe are heavy on star power, and maybe the big stories are maybe some of the Division I prospects that are coming in, some of the top caliber players in the country. This year, I don't think he had the number 1, 2, 3, 4 players in the country, but I think it was a deeper tournament. I think he had better teams, and which made it even better to see Glendale finish 3rd and Ozark finish 5th. They really show the basketball in this area. It can compare with the basketball across the country.
We're with Joe Kress, the Springfield News leader. What are some of the bigger games coming up now in any class here in just the next couple of weeks or so?
That's a good question. Put me on the spot. Trying to think here. It's amazing. I always break the season down into sections, and you always have the part up into the blue and gold. Then you have the blue and gold, seems like its own season. Then you have the first part of January and lead up to the Tournament of Champions. Then you have that last push going into district.
That's where we're starting now, is the stretch run till the end of middle of February, I guess.
It's about 3 or 4 weeks, but it seems a lot quicker than that.
And it's all conference games.
Right, it's all conference games. I'm hard pressed to pick 1 or 2 games right now that stand off the top of my head, but I know I'll be all over the Ozark Conference and COC, and there's a lot of other big games across the area and other conferences. And just getting ready for districts. So, there's a lot of big games, the next tournament finals this weekend, and a lot of more big COC games coming up, and big city games as well.
Joe, great pleasure as always. Thanks for coming by.
Thank you, Don.
Okay, Joe Kress of the Springfield News Leader. We are at halftime. It's 19-18. Kickapoo has a 1-point lead over the Glendale Falcons. We are live at Hammond Student Center tonight on this Friday night, and if you'd like to see our game again, it will air Saturday night at 7 o'clock, Sunday afternoon at 2, right here on Mediacom Cable 36. We'll have second half action coming your way. It's Kickapoo by 1, heading into the final 16 minutes. Just underway in the second half. You haven't missed anything, and now Spencer Laurie, as the Chiefs move from left to right, is fouled right off the bat by Grant Sparks, and he gets his 4th foul. So there's a Falcon starter in big foul trouble now with his 4th in the first 9 seconds of the 3rd quarter.
And Steve Hesser's going to go to Andy Garwitz to replace.
Get a lot of minutes out of him now as Mitchell misses from long range. Beaker brings it down. Here is Sparks. Got to be careful on both ends of the floor right now if you're the man with the ball, Grant Sparks. Williamson has a pass tipped and taken by Argo, and he calls timeout. So the question is, are there any 30-second timeouts left? And I think Kickapoo may have one because both teams used most of what they had. And actually, this is a full timeout with 7:17 left in the 3rd quarter. 19-18, and we'll take a short break and be back right after this. Kickapoo down floor right out of the timeout. Tolliver for the Chiefs puts it in. First field goal for Tolliver. He had only 1 free throw in the first half. Kickapoo leads it by 3. And Glendale got Sparks out of there and got Garwitz in, as Trevor told you. Beaker up and in.
And Jason Beaker just was given the baseline and just kept on going and wound up right under the basket, was able to go ahead and put it in and cuts the Kickapoo lead down to 1.
If or when will Spencer Laurie cut loose in this game? He has just 4 points, 1 field goal for 2 and 2 free throws. Here he goes. And there you go. Banker to give him 6.
Ask and you shall receive, and he's doing it on the dribble penetration as opposed to the long-range jumpers.
Now he picked a foul as Hesser brought it up. First foul on Spencer Laurie. Mitchell's the only Chief with more than 1 personal foul, and he has just 2. But Glendale's got 4 on Grant Sparks and 3 on Justin Williamson. Little soft shot won't go. Williamson cannot get it in. Here comes Devin Mitchell. Laurie spins it home. It's a 2. But he had to work for that basket, and he had to work for the last one, and that may be what it takes to get him going. Garwitz will let her rip. Williamson again on the tap. Out of bounds, look out.
Out of bounds and into your lap almost there, Don West.
And got a little bit of Justin Williamson there.
But nice hustle as the Falcons retain possession.
Luthi puts it home. And it's a 3-point game. Rebounding game was pretty even, 18-15 the lead for Kickapoo, with 11 offensive rebounds for the Chiefs. And Glendale had, according to the numbers, 10 offensive boards in the first half. Unofficially.
Unofficially, in the meantime, Devin Mitchell trying to back in on Jason Beeker, commits the travel, and we're going to get a turnover, another turnover by the Chiefs.
Dre Dokes back in. Luthi back out. Williamson. Garwitz again. He's feeling it. And again, not there. Rebound Argo. Well, he hasn't been bashful about taking him. He's only got 2 points for his effort so far, though. Scoop shot underneath is not there on Kickapoo's end. Beeker the other way. No! Rebound Devin.
Not very many breakaway opportunities for either team this ball game.
Laurie not there on the range one more time. Out of bounds to Glendale. This game got into the 60s out at Kickapoo 3 weeks ago, and we'll be hard-pressed to get into the 40s at this rate. Middle of the third quarter, Chiefs by 3. Williamson had Laurie cutting through, and he intercepts. Ahead to Mitchell. Underneath Tolliver. And not going to get the reverse layup, but Argo follows it up.
And a nice job of transition offense, even though the miss by Mitchell, but Argo right there with the putback.
Garwitz again. Beeker knocks in the 3.
And that's a big shot, Don. That keeps the game close.
Back to a 2-point margin now. That's Glendale's second 3, and Kickapoo has made only 1. And either Hesser or Luthi here are going to foul.
Take your pick, and they're going to get Luthi.
Number 2 on him. Kevin Schultz returns for the Falcons in blue, and Justin Williamson will sit down, playing the first 4 minutes, 40 seconds of the third quarter without committing a foul, and he goes back to the bench with 3. Dokes from the foul line. And Dre has 4 for the game. Chiefs by 4. Beeker and Garwitz. Luthi off on the wing. Pass into a heavily guarded lane, and it's picked up by Tolliver. Laurie got out of control again in the Falcons' defensive lane. Garwitz. Devin Mitchell closely on him. Beeker out on the left wing. Hesser and Luthi now to Garwitz inside. Beeker has to track it down. Gets it to Schultz. And he remains scoreless, and the Chiefs have it. But Garwitz with a great defensive effort.
And back and forth with the defensive effort on both teams. You're not seeing an awful lot of scoring, but Don, what you are seeing is two teams that know the importance of this game, and they're showing it defensively.
Beaker no good. Mitchell was there, didn't go after the rebound, and Schultz came in and got it. Kickapoo controls. Dokes, 15-footer.
Ray Dokes, a big spark plug off the bench, and he's hit his second straight stop and pop jumper, and he's got the Chiefs back up by 6.
Their biggest lead. It has been tight all the way. Hesser leaves it on the front rim. Tolliver pulls it down. Laurie from the parking lot, and a foul on the rebound.
They're going to get Anthony Tolliver, I think.
Believe so.
Foul is on Anthony Tolliver,
His second personal. Williamson, the big man in the paint, back in for the Falcons. Jordan Hines, right there, 35, returns to action. Minute 8 to go, and our first look at Brandon Donut, a 6'0 sophomore. D-O-N-A-T. Wears 31 for the Falcons. Luthi into Williamson. Tolliver there defensively to back him out. 42 seconds left in the third. Kickapoo by 6. Falcons trying to close it. It was 19-18 at halftime in favor of the Chiefs. Here's Luthi. Yes.
And Don, that's just motion offense, worked to its perfection. Got a cutting Ryan Luthi. A lot of patience exhibited by Glendale. Still leaves the Chiefs with 13-12 now to get those points back.
7 to play in the quarter, down to 5. Here goes Laurie, leaning in, can't get it in. Tolliver ahead of the buzzer, but he also could not find the range. Into 3 quarters. It remains relatively low scoring, 31-27 for the Chiefs, and we'll have the final 8 minutes in a moment. Roy Green and the Chiefs have a 4-point lead heading into the final period. Glendale has the ball. And Laurie fouls Hesser as he drives in. That'll be the second foul on Spencer Laurie.
No, they're going to give it to Anthony Tolliver. And really, there was another take-your-pick foul. Look there at the replay, and Ryan Luthi just decided to dribble, penetrate, and go right through the line. Excuse me, that was Tyler Hesser, and he's going to shoot a pair.
He remains scoreless after missing the first. Tonight's attendance is incredible, 6,458. Hesser rattles them both off. Kickapoo remains on top by 4 with the ball. Laurie to the baseline, puts it in. There's 10 for Laurie after he was held to just 4 in the first half. And on the other end,
that was Sparks. That was Grant Sparks taking the measure of Devin Mitchell, hanging in the air, waiting for Mitchell to commit, and then came in with the driving corkscrew layup.
Out of bounds to the Chiefs.
Don, you mentioned the 10 points by Laurie. None on 3-pointers. They're all either free throws or points inside the arc.
Chiefs have still made only 1 3 all night, and that was Kelly Byrne in the first half. And there will be a bit of a late call, but a correct call by Anthony Tyndall on Tyler Hesser, and Anthony actually waited until the right time to call that foul. First personal on Hesser. And another foul underneath as the ball went in deep. Hesser again, personal number 2.
That's the second personal foul on Tyler Hesser.
Team foul number 4. Kickapoo has committed 3, so both teams have fouls to give down the stretch here with 7 minutes to play. Inside Tolliver. All he could do with it. Avoids fouling, and the Falcons bring it up. Beaker from the corner. Rattles off.
Glendale's going to need a little more help on the boards. Nobody down low for the Falcons that time.
Laurie draws the block on Justin Williamson. That'll be foul number 4. On the floor and down to the baseline.
And if you're Steve Hesser, do you leave your big man in with 4 fouls and 6:38 left?
Mitchell inside. Dokes comes up with it. The answer is for now, yes, and I got to agree with it. Got to fight Tolliver in there.
You bet.
Along with all the other adversity. Laurie off a quick dribble. Olsen back to Laurie. He'll try again and got it.
And mark the time down. 6:13 left in the game. The first 3-pointer by Spencer Laurie gives him 13.
And the Chiefs lead it by 7. That now is their biggest lead of the game. Williamson in trouble in the lane. Finds Beaker. Cutting through is Beaker, and Mitchell gets him from behind. Third foul on Devin Mitchell.
That's the third personal on Devin Mitchell. Team foul 4.
Joey Rich will get it right here someday. Somebody will tell him.
At the line shooting 2, Jason Beaker.
Jason Beaker to the line for a pair. Number 1 goes down, and Brandon Argo comes back in.
Returning to the lineup for Kickapoo, Brandon Argo.
Grant Olsen sits down. 5:51 remaining, 36-30. Favor of Kickapoo.
Don't be surprised if Roy Green doesn't target Mr. Williamson with Tolliver and Mitchell and Argo down low.
Williams, he's just all alone in the lane and gets the pass intercept. Luthi, yes, he does.
It's a 3.
2-point game. And look out.
As the Falcon faints and is back up on his feet.
And a reach on Luthi. Still not 1-1 for either team. Fallon Luthi is his third to rehash the foul situation, which gets a little more dire for Glendale, but still not in desperation. Luthi with 3, Sparks with 4, Williamson 4, all starters. On the Chiefs side, Devin Mitchell and Anthony Tolliver have 3 each. Tolliver fires it down to Olsen. And there's Grant Olsen's first basket of the night. And Luthi all the way, a foul on the floor first. First one on Grant Olsen. And here is Dre Dokes to replace Olsen. 4:48 remaining, 38-34. Kickapoo by 4. Glendale could make it 1 if they hit the home run. And look out. Timeout before the 5 count called by Steve Hesser. 4:48 remaining. Stay with us. Chiefs lead it by 4. We will be back.
little bit.
Don West along with Trevor Worley on Cable 36, Mediacom Cable 36 tonight at Hammond Student Center with 6,458 in the house. They've seen a great one. The Chiefs lead at 38-34. It's the 73rd all-time meeting between these two schools in boys basketball. Glendale leads the series 43-29. Grant Sparks back in with 4 personals. Here's Beaker from the corner. Would have been a 2, but doesn't go, and out of bounds to Kickapoo.
Sparks and Williamson both in the Kickapoo, the Glendale lineup with 4 fouls, and dangerous move here by Steve Hesser, but you gotta have your 2 best players down low in the ball game to provide a little bit of help to this Falcon cause.
Dokes still open as he dribbled to the head of the key and misses. And look out. Pass too tall, too long. Hesser has to watch it go into the cheerleaders, and the Falcons lose another chance. 4:10 left. Here's Grant Olson.
And Don, this is a very critical portion of the game. From about 4 minutes in, it's going to be imperative that Glendale get points when they get the basketball in order to keep this game close.
Laurie out to Tolliver. He'll try the 3. Rattles it off. Put in by Devin Mitchell. First basket of the night for Mitchell. Chiefs by 6. Williamson trying to power it in on Tolliver, and he'll have none of it. Beaker for 3. Got it.
Wow, there's a big basket by Jason Beaker. The 6'5 senior drills it, cuts the lead back to 3.
Timeout Chiefs. 3:21 remaining, a 3-point game. Kickapoo's ball when we come back out of the break. 40-37 Chiefs. Final period, 3:15 to go. Kickapoo up 40-37. The Chiefs have the ball. Grant Olson looking for Mitchell, and a great save by Williamson. Beaker finds a seam out to Hesser. Won't try the 3 from that far out. Beaker will let it go. Leaves it short. Williamson taps it out long.
Couple of big taps by Jason Williamson.
Inside for Beaker. No. Gets it back himself. Look out.
Got excited. It's Justin Williamson, not Jason.
Luthi for 3. And a foul.
The officials confer, and Anthony Tyndall has the call. It is on Anthony Tolliver, Don.
Number 4 on him. You just got a glimpse of it there as Tolliver was blocked out in the camera shot, but he gets number 4. Dokes replaces Olson. 2:20 left. 3-point lead for the Chiefs. Inbounds for Beaker. Gets it in, and it's a 1-point game. Chiefs by 1. 2 minutes to play. Laurie puts it in. Laurie steals it. And puts another one in.
And Justin Williamson wisely held up. He had a notion for going for the foul and realized he had none to give and held up and let Laurie shoot. And it's a 5-point lead.
Glendale got it to 1, and then Laurie did some magic with 4 points in just a few seconds. Now a Chief foul on Dokes, his second.
Chiefs in the bonus now, Don.
The next Glendale foul put Kickapoo in the bonus as well, so we'll shoot free throws the rest of the way. It is Luthi. You can't miss these now if you're Glendale. One more for Ryan Luthi. Three-point lead for Kickapoo. Glendale obviously pressing all the way. Laurie nearly into forecourt, and now Tolliver gets it across. Remember, it's a 3-point Chief lead, and they can nurse it and take care of the ball if they want. And it looks like they want. Dokes in trouble. Now finds Laurie. Under a minute left, and a foul. Luthi gets foul number 4, and we'll have 1 and 1 for a great free throw shooter, Spencer Laurie. Laurie has 13 of his 17 points here in the second half. And now he finally gets right to his season average of 18-7. .57 seconds remaining. Chiefs lead by 5. And timeout, Kickapoo. 57 seconds to go, and don't you go away. 46-41 for the Chiefs, and we'll return in a minute. High school basketball brought to you tonight on Mediacom Cable 36 by MedPay and by BJ Marsh Travel. Don West, Trevor Worley with you at Hammond Center. Under a minute to go. Kickapoo leads it by 5 at 46-41. Glendale can't lose any chances now. Luthi. Williamson the follow. Tolliver pulls it off. And a foul. And Williamson is gone. If that's on him, it's him or Luthi. It is Luthi, rather. Excuse me, Beaker. Give it to Beaker, his second.
Glendale dodges a bullet there. Justin Williamson very easily could have collected his 5th, and instead they're going to give it to Beaker, and at the line is Dre Dokes, and he could put a little pad on this Kickapoo lead.
Gets it to bounce home.
Oh, let the old shooter's roll there.
Hammond center bounce. For a 7-point lead this time. That would be huge with 41 seconds left. Dokes has 8 big ones off the bench. Dokes picks up the block. And puts Luthi on the foul line. Both teams have 8 team fouls. 1 and 1 for Ryan Luthi. Beaker has 15, Luthi 14 for the Falcons. And now it's 15 apiece with 36 seconds to play. Grant Sparks returns. Garwitz sits down. To cut it to 5. Luthi gets it. Inbounds for Tolliver to Argo, and the foul on. This time it will be Williamson. That will be all for Justin Williamson.
How many seconds they get?
So with number 5 on Williamson, Steve Hesser will take a little time to sub in for him. Take his full 30 seconds, and now he sends Garwitz in, with Argo standing at the foul line.
Steve Hesser making his opinion known. He thought there was 5-second violation before the foul, but to no avail as Argo is at the line for the Chiefs.
Kickapoo can win it at the foul line now, and Argo makes good. Here's the next for Brandon Argo. 7-point lead. And still 7. Argo the rebound off of Luthie's miss. The Falcon foul. And the Chiefs with 2 this time down would just about put it away. Grant Sparks will punch the clock with 27 seconds to go.
Some of the Glendale crowd starting to thin out now as hope becomes a little longer. 7-point lead, not insurmountable, but they've got to get some misses from the Chiefs at the line and get some very quick scores. Not impossible, but maybe improbable.
Argo, a very steady game, misses this one. Kickapoo on the verge of avenging its only loss of the year. Misses both, but it's still a 7-point Kickapoo lead. 23 seconds. Beaker for 3. Very flat shot. Laurie can just wait till he gets fouled if he wants. He finds Dokes. Still Laurie, only 12 seconds, and the Chiefs are going to even the season series with their arch rivals, the Glendale Falcons. That is all. Chiefs win it 50-43. Season series is even. Kickapoo with the upper hand in the district seedings, the upper hand in the Ozark Conference race. And a big one for the Chiefs on this neutral floor tonight with a great turnout on both sides. 6,458 in the house at Hammond Student Center. We'll wrap it up right after this. High school basketball on Cable 36 has been brought to you by BJ Marsh Travel and by MedPay. Been our pleasure to bring you this battle tonight. Kickapoo wins. The Chiefs are 20-1 for the season. Glendale falls to 16-4 as the Chiefs win it 50-43. It was just 19-18 at halftime with Kickapoo holding a 1-point edge, but the Chiefs win it in the second half. And the final count, 50-43. Spencer Laurie leads the way with 19 for the Chiefs. Brandon Argo, 13. Dre Dokes had 8 off the bench. Kelly Byrne and Anthony Tolliver had 3 each. Stephen Mitchell and Grant Olson with 2 points apiece for the Kickapoo Chiefs. Ryan Luthie put in 16 to lead the way Glendale. Jason Beaker, 15. Grant Sparks had 6. Justin Williamson, 4. And Andy Garwitz with 2 as Glendale falls to 16-4 for the year. Kickapoo 20-1 and rolling on into the month of February, and it's going to be the Chiefs' Ozark Conference race certainly to lose now. They'll have the upper hand.
Well, really, you're right. We talked about that in the open. It was the winner of this game had the inside track to the Ozark Conference title, and going to be awful hard for Glendale to climb back in. Kickapoo would have to be upset by someone else in the conference, and really, with the way the conference is stacked up at this point going forward, I really don't see it happening.
You can catch our game Saturday night at 7, Sunday afternoon at 2. Been our pleasure to bring you high school basketball again here on Mediacom Cable 36, and that'll do it for us for tonight. For Trevor Worley, for Corey Riggs and the rest of our crew in the truck, I'm Don West. Thanks for joining us. Chiefs win it 50-43. Good night from Hammond Student Center.